Hi, and welcome back to the Suburban Chateau. I'm Stephanie Everett, and I'd like to welcome you back to our Danube River Cruise series. Today, we're moving on the Danube River and seeing some incredible sights, of course. The incredible Durnstein, a beautiful little town, one of the smallest towns in all of Austria. And it's on an elevation, but it's just got some beautiful little nooks and crannies in the town, lovely little shops along the way. And one of the most charming little small towns that we saw. We did see a lot of big cities on our trip, but Durnstein was beautiful with a beautiful overlook of the Danube there. And Durnstein is in the Wachau region of the Danube in Austria. It's known as one of the most picturesque areas of all of the Danube. And we really enjoyed going down the Danube in that section and really seeing the little towns on both sides of the river. And it really put me in mind of our Rhine trip from last year. The way it is situated between the mountains and the Danube just cutting through the mountains really, to me, looks like the Rhine River. And there are castle ruins here and there. Even in Durnstein, there's a castle ruin that's associated with Richard the Lionheart in the history. He was once held captive by the Austrian king there in Durnstein. But this is just a beautiful section of the Danube. And so today there's going to be a lot of river footage. And then we ended up in the incredible Melk Abbey. And everyone told me how memorable this was going to be. But we did do a small tour of the Abbey itself. We saw the amazing library, the marble hall where there was an open marble hall, very majestic, but incredible ceilings with all kinds of depictions, biblical scenes, of course. And then we went into the church itself. And this one was just completely gold. Everything was gold. So we were quite taken aback by that. But one of the most picturesque places, of course, we saw so many churches along the way on the trip, but Melk Abbey was one of the most exciting and certainly the most gilded churches I'd ever seen. So I hope you enjoyed today and getting to see some of the more rural sections of the Danube, some village, Durnstein, and Melk Abbey. Now, it was at this point in our journey that the landscape of the Danube began to look again very much like the Rhine River, and especially the section of the Rhine River which had all of the castles lining the Rhine. Just the width of the river right here, the large hills on both sides of the river, the little towns that we passed just dotting the edge of the river. And I went up to the top deck just to capture this because I enjoyed the sections of the Rhine River so much that look just like this area. And the one thing I also noticed that along the sides of the Danube in this region were many vineyards. So again, it really reminded me of the Rhine River and the Riesling wines that were made out of the grapes that grew alongside the Rhine. And we started to see some fortresses up on the hills. So it really put me in mind of that Rhine River journey. It was just breathtaking, and we had beautiful weather that morning. The light was just hitting everything amazingly. And we came upon, of course, the beautiful little town of Durnstein. The picturesque small town of Durnstein is known for the incredible Durnstein Abbey, established in 1410, which is famous for its blue tower rising above the town. It takes its name from Durnstein Castle that sits high above the municipality. Durnstein translates to dry stone, which describes the fortress that once held Richard the Lionheart, captive as a prisoner of Leopold V, the Duke of Austria, in the 12th century. Now, although this was sort of a tiny town along the Danube, this had so much charm. It was amazing. It had incredible, almost medieval architecture. We loved walking up this little dry stone, cobblestone path. It had a little archway, sort of a little tunnel that came right out into the middle of the town. And we came right under a Durnstein Abbey tower. So as soon as we walked up into town, we were right under the blue tower that stands so high above the city. But what an incredible, just all of the charm and character that you could imagine was totally displayed in Durnstein. The Durnstein Abbey was established in 1372 with only a chapel that was dedicated to the Virgin Mary. By 1410, an estate was bequeathed to establish a monastery, and in the 15th century, a church, priory, and cloister were added. In the late 17th century, the Abbey complex was renovated in a Baroque style, while retaining its original Gothic structure. The Abbey courtyard was closed to create an enclosed space. In the 1980s, all of the buildings were again thoroughly restored. I have to say that I truly felt that Durnstein was quite a charming little town. And you could tell with the detail that everyone took the flower boxes on the side of the cottages, the beautiful little shops along the way inside Durnstein. And apparently they had a specialty for apricot. So there was apricot jelly, apricot honey, apricot liqueur, all kinds of things that were dealing with apricot. I didn't know that at that time. But what I really thought, it really put me in mind of some of the Rhine River cities or little towns we saw along the way last year, such as Colmar and Egisheim and some of those little sweet towns along the Rhine. I think also because there were grapes growing nearby, and it just had all that charm of that small town atmosphere. I also loved seeing the architecture, the medieval architecture, definitely the dry stone technique that you saw everywhere in the fences along the way. It totally lived up to its name, Durnstein. But what a charming town, marrying the history and the charm of Europe. We finished up our trip to Durnstein, boarded the Amadeus Imperial, and got one final look at Durnstein and that incredible blue spire of the Durnstein Abbey, and of course, the Durnstein Castle. We spent the morning in Durnstein in Austria. We got back on the boat and we did see some amazing small towns along the way on our way to Melk Abbey. And one of the first ones we saw was Weißenkirchen in der Wachau. And it's a small town in Lower Austria, and you can see the incredible church that sits at the heart of this town. But if you look out beyond and see on the hills, it's also known for its vineyards and its wine creation. And you can see they have terraced vineyards up on the mountains. This is something we saw a lot when we were on the Rhine River, but then we were seeing it again on the Danube. And Weissenkirchen really stood out to me. There was another small town that we saw very close to Weissenkirchen called Joking. And Joking had the same terraced vineyards, and you can see them right there on the mountains. And they are part of the absolutely most well-known winemaking region in that area. Finally, we came upon St. Michael, and of course it's on the Danube as well. It's another small village right alongside the Danube, not far from Weissenkirchen and Joking. And again, St. Michael is known for its vineyards and its winemaking, and the three municipalities together make up the bulk of the winemaking region in that area. After our busy morning in Durnstein and spending most of the day on the Danube traveling to Melk Abbey, we reached the Abbey and we reached the outer walls, which were so ornate and beautiful. And of course, the incredible yellow coloring on the Abbey really was exciting. And as we were walking in, we came to an inner court, and they waited till we all walked through the courtyard to get to this inner court. And of course, we were in a group of musicians, so we had a little bit of music.
I must away now. I can no longer tarry. This morning's tempest I have to cross. I must be guided without a stumble into the arms I love most.
The Melk Abbey is a Benedictine abbey above the town of Melk in Lower Austria. The abbey was founded in 1089 when Leopold II gave one of his castles to the Benedictine monks from the Lombok Abbey that housed a renowned monastic library. The Baroque Abbey of today was built between 1702 and 1736 and is decorated in a particularly opulent manner. The library has many rare medieval manuscripts as well as a large inventory of Baroque literature. This abbey caught on fire in 1974, damaging a lot of the most opulent spaces in the abbey, so it was restored beginning in 1978. One of the most magnificent aspects of the decor in the Melk Abbey are its incredible ceiling frescoes that appear all throughout the building, in some of the hallways, in the incredible marble hall, in the library, and of course, in the chapel, in the church itself at Melk Abbey. Now, Melk Abbey was designed by Jacob Prantauer, and some of these notable frescoes in the various areas of the abbey were painted by Michael Rottmeyer and Paul Troger. It was Paul Troger who painted the Marble Hall, and it was depicting wisdom and imperial power, and it was featuring some of the characters Pallas, Athena, and Hercules. Now, the incredible thing about the ceiling in the Marble Hall is that it was painted on a flat ceiling, but it used a trompe-l'oeil effect, which made it look as if the ceiling were rising up into the air. And even when you stand there and look at it, you cannot tell it is a flat ceiling. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Once we had seen the Marble Hall, we walked back outside on our way to the library and got to see the beautiful Danube below. It was a rainy day, but still didn't dampen our mood. We did get to see the incredible library. Again, another fresco by Paul Troger, done in the trompe-l'oeil style. So it is a flat ceiling, but it is painted to look like it rises up. And this one figured faith as a central figure, and it's surrounded by angels that represent the cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, fortitude, and temperance. Now, our last stop was, of course, the incredible church at Melk Abbey. And I've never, as I said before, seen anything so gilded in my life. This church was covered in gold and, of course, had another amazing fresco. This one was by Michael Rottmeyer, and it depicted the ascension of Saint Benedict into heaven. And it was just an incredible church. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Never anything so opulent in any church I've ever been into. It was simply breathtaking. Hope you enjoyed going along with me on the Danube today to see the beautiful city of Durnstein, the Wachau Valley of the Danube, and finishing up in Melk Abbey. Stay tuned, lots more adventures on our Danube cruise coming up.